last session. All right. So last session we'll be here with Mr. Narendra, our team lead at Ranosys. So he will be discussing, sharing with you, okay, on more on this unboxing Magento Headless commercial with PWA and Graphql. All right. So the floor is yours, Narendra.
Yeah, hi Ming. Thank you for introducing me. Okay, so myself Narendra, and today we will be discussing about the headless commerce, what exactly it is and how can we use it. So I think the introduction Ming already gave. For a shorter side, like I am working as a team lead with Magento, with Ranosys Technologies, and I am a Adobe certified expert Magento commerce developer currently working with Magento. And this is the overall agenda that today we will be discussing about. So in short, if I say like today we will be discussing about headless. So this is going to be more over a technical presentation, a technical side, like what exactly is headless and all those things. So I believe like I will be able to cover up majority of the topics in this only. Although what I think is that the every topic that is in this presentation can be considered as a separate presentation because the topics are very vast enough. But also yet I have tried to sum up all those things and present in one PPT only. So the overall agenda is like we will be discussing about headless, what exactly is headless, and like you see that people are talking continuously about headless. Wherever you go in the recent ways, everyone is talking about headless. I want to go towards headless. What exactly is headless? Irrespective of Magento, in general term, what exactly is headless? And then what are the benefits towards if we progress towards headless? Then how Magento is dealing this, how Magento is progressing towards headless, the headless commerce. And whenever the term headless, whenever term headless comes in everyone's mind, it comes like PWA. So what is the relation with headless and PWA, and what exactly is Magento's PWA? If let's say you are a guy, you are a developer, you are working continuously in Magento environment from a couple of years, and then you want to switch to PWA, listening about what is PWA, and let's say you wonder how I can install it, how I can kickstart it. So that will also be covered in this particular presentation, and also like kickstarting the Magento's PWA, and then what exactly comes with Magento's PWA, what is the complete package of Magento PWA, what exactly comes in Magento's PWA, and understanding the file and folder structure of PWA, how we can customize it. We will see an example, like if I want to customize a single part of that comes with Magento and layout, how we can do that. And then the GraphQL as well, like headless, for headless we need some part to communicate. So Magento is using GraphQL. GraphQL is also a very recent thing, so we'll be discussing about the GraphQL as well. And then let's say if we discuss what are the benefits, there are some drawbacks as well. So we will be discussing about some points of consideration if you are using headless. Okay, so and at the last but not the least, like if you should contribute to Magento community as well. So let's say if you want to contribute to PWA and GraphQL, so how you can do that, that will also be covered actually. So what is headless? So as the name initiates, headless, that means something is being differentiated with the one on another. So what is the current Magento tool? We can say what is the current web, how it is being shown is like currently the front end and back end are very strongly married with each other. You cannot separate completely. You can separate front end with the back end. So headless, in short, the headless means that you want to decouple your front end with your back end. In short, you can say that the front end can be in any of the technology and the back end can be in any of the technology. So this is how Magento works. Magento is trying to work in his PWA studio, you can say. So if you take reference with the current Magento 2, like I'm talking about the current Magento, like the Luma and the blank theme that comes with Magento. So it's like it is tightly coupled with the backend. You cannot separate it by anything. So this is actually a drawback, I can say. And because the latest technology where we are progressing is the customer experience is on the high priority. And if you want to deliver the best customer experience, then that can be achieved using the headless only, because you can manipulate or you can define front end as per your need. Like if I want to have front end in Angular, I'm free to use that. If I want my front end to be in React, I'm free to do that. That is actually the headless. Okay. So in short, if I say, then the content presentation is a bit different from the business logic. And so the question appears that if, let's say, there's the front end and back end are completely decoupled, and how they will communicate. So the answer is APIs. So only APIs are the medium of communication between the front end and back end. The APIs are actually, we typically know REST and SOAP only, but after Facebook introduced GraphQL, there's another API you can see that's called as GraphQL, and we will be using that. Means Magento provides that in their Magento's PWA Studio. But ideally for headless, you can use any of the APIs to retrieve data and to post the data. Then what is actually the headless? So headless simply means that you are well planning your architecture. You are having front end, you are deciding what is going to be your front end stuffs, and you can decide your back end stuffs as well. So you can say that it's a very planned project. And the one of the most benefit why people use headless is because of its speed, because the speed can be extended to a very major level, and you can provide a very good customer experience to your customers. So what are the benefits of progressing towards headless? So first of all, it's a very modern technology. So if, let's say, because the pattern, like having the front end and back end and combined, that's a very old thing. So the question arises that why headless is being popular nowadays. This can be a question. So headless is actually becoming popular, or you can say headless is gaining popularity because in the old days it was like people used to have desktop and they used to do the online shoppings and those. But today we are moreover progressing towards the mobile thing. Every e-commerce agency should have the mobile friendly thing, else they can't survive. So only because we are moving more towards the mobile thing, this is the reason that the PWAs and all those stuffs are taking the considerations. So first of all, it uses various modern technologies, and then it allows quick integration. With quick integrations, I mean that, let's say, if you are having a project and you want to do an omni-channel integration. So if, let's say, you are doing it in traditional Magento, it becomes more complex, but it is somehow easier if you do it in headless, because it's just an API calling. You are already doing various API calling if you're using headless. So integrations becomes easier, and it completely comes in your hand how you are going to integrate. Then it offers flexibility, like because front end and back end are completely separated. It offers personalization. You can give touch to your front end and back end as per your need. It increases the speed, because speed is completely enhanced. And why it is being enhanced? Because you can see that these progressive web apps and all are actually the single page application. That means the first load is the only thing, but the browser, the first page loads and the data is come. Now let's say if I'm going on PLP, if I'm going on PDP, then only those contents will be fetched using the API, and that will be inserted into the DOM. That's it. So you can assume that if complete page is not loading, then definitely it is going to enhance the speed. It is going to increase the customer experience. Customer will feel that yeah, the website is really very fast. So speed is really a major concern. And as we know that if the speed is being reduced to 1 second, we can lose a number of customers. So the speed is the very important thing. Then it improves the performance. Then the as I said, the greater customer experience. And it utilizes the efficiency of PWA as well, because if it's not like this, that if you are headless only, then you can utilize the PWA. But it's like you can utilize PWA in an efficient manner if you are in a headless scenario. Then GraphQL. So headless is again not related with GraphQL, but if we talk about Magento's PWA Studio, so that comes with the GraphQL as well. So GraphQL has its certain benefits. We will discuss again in this particular presentation only about GraphQL as well. Then how Magento is progressing towards headless. So Magento is having when Magento decided that it should go towards headless. So the one thing was that they introduced PWA Studio, and then they introduced the GraphQL as well. Before that, there was no GraphQL, there was no PWA Studio. So we can say that in order to proceed towards headless commerce, Magento is building the PWA Studio and the GraphQL. So these two are the steps how we are progressing towards headless. There are various things inside them, inside these, like we have variety of things in PWA Studio as well. We have variety of things inside the GraphQL as well, that also we will be going to discuss in this presentation only. So sorry. So the question arises that what is PWA? As I told, headless and PWA are completely separate thing. Like we can have PWA without going headless as well. But yeah, it's better if we go PWA with headless, because this will give a very good customer experience, and customer experience is the only thing why we are switching towards all these technologies. So the question arises that what is PWA and what are the benefits? So progressive web apps. Progressive web. First of all, I would like to point you on the name itself, like PWA. So the name is Progressive Web Apps. And in order to understand this, you should break it into the two words. One is the progressive, another is the web apps. So first of all, I will say web apps. What are web apps? Web apps simply means that it is not going to be a native application. It is a website that will open in an application, and you will feel like it's an application, but actually it will open your website, only a responsive website into your application. So web apps, it's clear that a website that will open as an app. Okay. Then the word is progressive. So what is the meaning of this progressive? So progressive means that, as you know, that it is a completely dependent on a browser. Like in web apps, we will open a browser only. And browsers are actually upgrading day by day. We can have latest version as well. We can have Safari, we can have Chrome, we can have new version, new browser as well. We can have Edge as well. We can have old browsers as well. So it's like it works in a progressive manner. Like what things we have, it will adopt it. What will be introduced in future, it will adopt those as well. So it's a progressive nature, and we are working in a progressive manner. It works in progressive manner, and it's a web app as well. So this combinedly makes it as a progressive web apps. So it's an app that is built using the web technologies. It can be built very quickly instead of native app, because you don't need to worry about anything. Whatever code if you are using headless, whatever code you have written in front end, that will be used in your apps as well. So you need not to invest heavily as you are investing in your native apps. That's a benefit. Then sorry, it can be built using the latest web technologies. Like you all know, the Magento PWA Studio uses React, and React is the very latest thing. So let's say if someone decides that he wants React in the current Magento 2 in Luma and Blank, so it's really very typical thing. But with the headless, it is possible. Like Magento already provides in PWA Studio the React, and we know React is very popular and very good for customer experience. So you can say that the PWA Studio uses very latest technologies. It are smooth, fast, and lightweighted. Like you might have seen the apps. Like when I used to browse some website, they provide some light apps. So light apps simply means that they don't take much space in your mobile, and they can set aside very easily. So these are actually light apps, and those are actually the PWA apps only. A button will come at the end, like add to home screen and something like that stuff. So all those are related to PWAs. So these are very smooth, fast, and lightweighted. And we don't need app to be pushed into the Apple stores or Google Play stores, and then we download. Those things are not stuff. Simply we can add a pop-up in a website that install the app from here. The user will click and the app will get installed simply. So that's the beauty of PWAs. And also, let's say if you're having multiple stores, let's say we are having 50 stores or 20 stores. So see how much apps you will have. You will have around 15 or 20 apps. So first of all, you need to invest them heavily, and then you need to manage them all. So beside that, you can have a simple PWA app. It will simply show a message to add that in your home screen, and it can be added to your home screen easily. Then it's a lesser code base, because you're not developing app completely. So you can use the simple web code only, because it's ultimately a responsive website only. So lesser code means lesser bug, less issues, and a very stable website, you can say. And the thing is that the PWA supports various native features as well of the app that are actually needed for any business, like push notifications. So let's say if you are running in any of the festive season or Black Friday sale, and you want to shoot out some push notifications, that is possible if you are using PWA apps. It supports offline access as well, offline, even offline ordering as well. So let's say if I visited a page and now I'm not having internet connection, I can access those pages again. And that is actually possible if you're using PWAs, and PWAs are installable as well. So installable in the sense that let's say if I'm getting a pop-up add to home screen, if I click on it, it will be installed as an app. So end user won't have an idea that it's a PWA app or what, if it's not that much technical. So that is actually the beauty of PWAs, that these apps are installable as well. Now the question arises that let's say if you want to kickstart Magento's PWA, then what is going to be the approach? Okay, so let's say if you want to start Magento's PWA. So for your reference, I have added certain steps here. Like the first one is yarn create Magento PWA. So what you need actually, I haven't mentioned it here, but I can let you know. So the two steps are needed in order to function the Magento's PWA. One is the node and another is the yarn. Okay, so you need these both, node and yarn. If they're not, you need to install it on your local machine or wherever, and then you can simply create, you can simply run yarn create @Magento PWA. So what it will do is it will be an installer, and it will create like you can see that the simple steps will be shown. Like here I'm asking that here it is asking that what is the root category, what is the name, and all those basic things. You can simply enter if you don't have any value. So it will take the default value. So the installer is very clean. Ultimately you will get a folder that will have all these steps. Okay, that will have all the file and folders of it. And then whatever directory you have given, like project root directory, I have given PWA Studio fundamentals. So you want to go into that PWA Studio fundamentals, and then you need to run the yarn watch. So we will discuss file and folder structures also in this presentation only at the end. So ultimately these are the steps by which you can kickstart the Magento's PWA. And the yarn watch command actually connects your storefront with the Magento using the upward server. So at the end of yarn watch, you will get a URL at which your server will be running. So there are yarn watch and yarn run command as well. Yarn watch is actually for if you want to see the hot loading, hot reloading, and those kind of stuff. So for development, you should use yarn watch. Then question comes that what comes inside the Magento's PWA. So inside Magento's PWA, the key features that comes are the first one is a scaffolding. So let's say if you have worked in the initial days of Magento's PWA, when Magento was developing in a very initial stage of PWA. At that time, the steps that were mentioned were like the simple git clone. You need to clone, and then you need to all those things. But as I shown these steps to you like this, so yarn create Magento's PWA. So all, and also the inner structure of how Magento has structured, that all thing is actually the scaffolding. Because in past we used to clone it directly from the Magento's repo, and then we need to work on it. But that was definitely not a good thing. So that's why Magento recently launched the scaffolding. By scaffolding, you can customize Venia in a proper manner, and you can create your custom storefront as well, and also you can kickstart it very easily. So scaffolding is a very good thing. Before scaffolding, I have personally used Jordan's Eisenberger's fallback concept for that. I hope whosoever have started working in PWA in very initial stage might be familiar with that Jordan fallback concept. And we used to use that in order to do the development. But now, thanks to Magento core team, they have provided us scaffolding. Then the Venia theme, so those who are not aware, like Magento's PWA comes with a default theme that is called as Venia. And it is a POC that Magento provides to us. And you can say that it's like Magento's Blank or Luma theme somehow. So Magento is already building a theme for us that that we can directly use. Okay. Apart from this, in order to make PWA work and function as a native apps and use all those native things, there are various supportive features that are available, like the manifest, upward, peregrine, service workers. Okay, we are able to create the builds as well, and the GraphQL, obviously. So these are the things. From these things, we will discuss some of the things in the next slides. In short, if I say, as I told you, scaffolding, Venia theme, manifest JSON actually provides all those icons and all those app icons and all those images and all those configurations. Upward is definitely the connector between the React, or you can say the PWA, and the Magento's GraphQL. So APIs communicate actually with this Upward. We will discuss again in detail. Peregrine is actually the various UI components that are already built by Magento and that we can directly consume in order to customize our storefront. Service workers, we will discuss in the next slide. So service workers are actually a separate thread by which you can run, or you can execute the various things apart from the main thread. We will discuss again in that also. Creating builds, there are commands, and there's a, in the file folder structure, we will discuss a dist folder. So all the, when you run yarn run build, so all the build is being created and all those JS being compiled and are available in that dist folder actually. And the GraphQL, we will discuss again. GraphQL is a query language. We will discuss again that also in this detail. So first of all, manifest.json. So manifest.json, manifest, the first thing that I mentioned here, like manifest.json. So manifest.json actually is a JSON file. You can see the path here. It is manifest.json. If you control U any Magento PWA Studio, you will see this manifest.json file. So this actually tells browser about your mobile or desktop thing, and it contains the website name, icons, as I said, when the website is being launched, and add to home screen. It makes the PWA installable and it feels like a native apps. So if you, as I said, that if you do a control U, if you see the page source, you will see this type of link in the manifest.json. So it will link directly. If you want to see a file where exactly it is, so you can go to node_modules folder. We will see the file and folder structure. So whenever you install Magento, there's a node_module folder. In that you will see an @Magento. Inside that Vinia UI, then you can see a manifest.json file. This is a sample file for you. So we can configure here what are going to be our app icons and what are going to be their sizes and all. We can configure our app name as well as short name, and all those things we can configure using the manifest.json file. Then Upward, as I said, that Upward is a connector between the progressive web apps and the Magento server. So like, let's assume this is our progressive web app and this is the Magento server. So as I said, that the in Headless, the front end and back end can communicate only via the API. So APIs can be the REST and the GraphQL, but APIs can also not directly communicate. The progressive web app and the backend, that's the Magento server, actually communicates with this Upward server. So you need this Upward server to be up and running. If this Upward server is not up and running, these two connections won't be made and the PWA Studio won't function. So whenever we are running a yarn watch, actually this Upward server is being initiated and it creates a proxy so that the PWA can communicate with Magento server with the help of these APIs. So Upward actually refers for Unified Progressive Web App Response Definition, and it actually, what it does, as I explained you, that it determines what are the services, it gets the result, and then it sends back to the application. So what are the, where are the configurations done? So there's a YML file, upward.yml, that you can find, and in these there are the basic configurations related to Upward. Then service workers. So as I said, that service workers are also very important thing. Sorry, in order to make the PWA work. So what exactly are service workers? So this is the main thread. Main thread means that you're having in the website, you're having HTML, CSS, JS, and all those things. And this JS is completely bind. So the thing is that this JS is not free to communicate with the other things. So what service workers are? Service workers are also simple JS files only, but they runs apart from the main thread. So they are actually a separate thread. So as they are a separate thread, they can do whatever they want. So these threads can be used in order to send the push notifications as well, in order to fetch the request and all those things. So what are the so whatever are the main things, like if you want to do some kind of caching, that can be done using the service workers. If you want to send push notifications, offline loading, all those things are possible only with the help of service workers. So Magento's PWA Studio comes with this service workers. So these are JavaScript files that are running apart from the main thread, and these are actually responsible for a variety of PWA Studio things. Now caching is done by service workers, and there are three actually methods in Magento. Like there are stale while revalidate, then network first, and cache first. So let's say So stale while revalidate simply means that if there is not a cache available, so it will get the response from and it will refresh the cache as well. Network first means it will not use the cache, but it will always all time it will create a new network request. And cache first means always it will be triggered from caches only. PWA's file and folder structure. So we are having SRC, node modules, and test. These three folders are at the on the root. And apart from that, we are having some different files as well on the root. So SRC folder is the part where we need to customize everything. So we can this actually have service worker test. This is the Zest testing. Then we have driver.js, index.css, index.js. These are actually and this is the entry point, very important file, index.js. We can customize everything by utilizing this particular file only, index.js. And then we are having register service worker that actually standardize the service workers. We have store.js. We in the node underscore modules, we have all the packages that comes when we install the PWA, and dist we have the when we install the PWA. Sorry, when we run the build, at that time the files are generated in this dist folder. Then customize theme. If let's say you want to customize the Vinia theme, you have some requirement, definitely you will have. So how you can customize it? So there are three basic things. The first thing is you need to identify the chain from where your component is being rendered. Then you need to copy it in your SRC folder, and then you need to change the dependencies of that particular folder. So I have created I would like to demonstrate you these three steps. So first say let's you want to customize the footer part. So first of all, you need to identify that from where this footer is coming. You can simply use the React tools that are available in the browser. You can install it as an add-on of Chrome. Once you do that, you will in the network tab in the console, you will see this particular type of tabs, and it will clearly show you that from where this footer is coming. You can exclude these providers and context actually because they are of no use. So inside footer, you will see that footer, top of footer we are having main, then on top of it main we are having app. So what we need to do is we need to customize this footer, but we need to override its whole hierarchy. So let's say if we want to customize the footer, and so footer, on top of footer we are having main, we are having app. So we need to copy all those node underscore. We need to copy this app from node underscore modules folder. This is a command copy, and we will copy it inside our SRC folder. So we will be copying all those files and folders, and then we will make the customization in this footer. Now how we are going to customize it? What we will do is that we have override the app folder actually. So this is actually a GitHub. So maybe you can see what I have removed and what we have added. So previously this was, and we have removed this app, importing it from, instead of importing it from @Magento Venia UI, we are importing it from our SRC folder only. So this we are going to do in this index.js. That's the entry point. So in the entry point, we have changed the location of app from node underscore modules folder to our SRC folder app. So first of all, we will change the entry point. Now our app is being called. Now inside the app, we will be changing the variety of things. Like in this app, we are not changing the main, else we have changed all the dependencies. Like previously, let's say this mini card was being imported, that was not imported from our SRC folder. We don't need to customize it, so we will simply give an absolute path of @Magento. So we don't need any customization. We don't do any changes in this. Similarly, we will do we will override this main.js as well, and inside main.js as well, we will instead of footer, we will give all the files the location to be the absolute, that is the @Magento Venia UI only. So by doing this, like we can customize and we can do whatever we want. And now at the end, like as we are including the footer, we have not given the path of footer of the node underscore module. So this footer will be included from your theme, and you can do whatever customization you want. Then what is GraphQL? So GraphQL is a query language that was initially developed by Facebook in 2012, and then Facebook released it to public in 2015. It's a query language. And what's the beauty of GraphQL is, I can let you know the two beautiful things. So these are that you can fetch whatever you want. Like in the REST API, we need to give response, the whole response what is coming to us. But GraphQL is not like that. Whatever we request, we get only those particular data only. So that's the beauty of GraphQL. And the another thing is that it have improved the targeting. That means that all the APIs are being accessible by only one endpoint only. Like in REST, we are having different endpoints. That's not the case for GraphQL. We are having only one endpoints only. but it is a very strictly typed language. So you need to define each and everything, like this name. So what this name is supposed to be, what this home world is supposed to be, everything you need to define. If you won't define, you won't get that in the, you can't request it and you can't get in the response as well. Apart from this, it provides some powerful tool like Graphql. So we can see the request and response in a very interactive manner. Like if I discuss about Magento, like if in Magento you want to create a GraphQL, or you want to see where exactly our GraphQLs are, so inside any modules etc folder, you will find a file like schemas.graphql. That is actually the endpoint of GraphQL. You will see various GraphQL. Like I have created a snapshot of this particular Magento's GraphQL. So if you see here, you can see like there's a type query, type currency. So there are various types that we have already defined, like this country IDC we have defined its string and all those things. So this is a typical schema.graphql file. Now, the GraphQL, the main thing that you want to understand in the GraphQL is actually the query and mutations. So I will discuss it quickly, what exactly are query and what exactly are mutations. So query simply means the get request. If you want to get something, so you can use query. But let's say if you want to mutate something for any post operation, or let's say for any CRUD operation, you cannot use the query. You will use mutations. So like this is an example of mutation, and this is an example of query. Like I'm getting the customers, so I have used it as a query. There is a resolver. Resolver is a class that actually gives us the exact data. And then the mutations, like this is a mutation. So in this we get the input as well. The query can also be query can accept some parameters as well. Like let's say if I'm getting the products with based on some search criteria, so in the query I can pass some filter as well, that I need. I can pass the pagination, I can pass the current page size, and it will return me that particular set of products only. So the query we can get by passing some parameters as well, or we can get without parameters as well. And for CRUD we can use the mutations. There are some tags that you will find, like @resolver, that are the resolvers. You will find @doc, that are the description. You will find @cache, something like this, @cache. So this is like if you want to cache this particular API request response or not. So that is actually related, because there might be the requirement, because some common things can be cached, like product categories and CMS, that can be cached. So we can provide that particular like cacheable false or true. Then the main question arises here, that let's say if you have done everything and you want to go live with the PWA, so what can be the approach? So thanks to Tommy Webel, I just found a reply from him, and it was very appropriate, so I thought to show it that directly. So what he's suggesting is that, let's say, okay, first of all, it's not, the main challenge is the upward. You can build your PWA, and you will get all these files of the build, but how to go production. So in order to do that, you need upward, because without upward there won't be any communication. So there can be like you can use upward JS as well, or you can use upward PHP as well. If you use upward JS, then you need node server every time running, and that's not the good thing. So that's why what the recommended is that maybe you can have a very you can build a PWA in any of your location. Like as he suggests, that you can have a slash PWA, sorry, you can have a slash PWA, where you will have your all those things. And then you can simply configure it, like bin/magento config sat, what exactly is your upward.yml. And then you can set the environment variable. Okay. And then if, let's say, you flush the Magento's cache, and if you give that a try, you will be able to access your particular website, the PWA website, and the other URLs will also run, as you mentioned, like /admin. So these are the steps that by which we can go live with the PWA. At the end, there are some points to be consideration. Like there are obviously some good things come with some amount of drawbacks as well. So the points that we should consider while working on PWA, or while selecting PWA, are that PWA has some limitation on the iPhone devices. Although, as I said, that it is a progressive in nature. So let's say if some changes were introduced in the browser, that changes will be adopted. But right now, it has some limitations in the iPhone devices. And as it is a very recent technology, And I believe that the majority of the persons in here as well might be working in the native Magento only, the Magento 2 only. So the thing is that it's very hard to find the quality developers. And the third party extensions, definitely, if let's say you are a Magento customer and you have invested heavily in those third party modules, and let's say if you switch to PWA, then that might be a concern that you won't have all those third party modules to directly be used. And similarly, you won't have that much marketplace as well. You can go to, if you want a feature right now, you can go to marketplace, you can download the extension, just plug and play. So that thing is currently not available, but I think that as we switch from Magento 1 to 2, after that the marketplace developed. So I think in future as well, the extension provider will definitely come with a solution, and the same thing will be available for PWA as well. And the last thing is that it take time, because it's a new technology. And as I said, that front end and back end are completely isolated. If you do so, then the whole front end will build under the React JS only, and the communication will be held in Magento from the APIs only. And the one more drawback is that ideally headless should have any kind of backend, but in Magento we have it on the Magento as a backend only. So that's not a drawback, I can say. But yeah, we are using, in short, I can say that we are using the power of Magento with the headless feature, or with a very good front end. So these are some points that we need to consider. And now, where to contribute? So let's say if you want to contribute in Magento's project, because this PWA and GraphQLs are actually available for community. So there can be the various factors, like you can go to GitHub. These are the links actually for PWA Studio and GraphQL repository, or maybe you can join the Slack channels of Magento and you can start contributing in those projects as well. So thank you, I'm done. Thanks for listening.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Narendra. That is so much information, and I hope everyone find this session as fruitful as me. So we have a lot of inquiries from a lot of questions from our Q&A. So
Yeah.
get ready, man. A lot.
Yeah.
Okay. First question is what implementation challenges is there for headless architect for integrate with legacy systems like ERP and CRM?
Yeah, so as I said, that I can say that it's very easy. It's going to be easy if I talk about like integrations in with respect to the native Magento that we have, because it's ultimately the API calling only. Although it is going to be challenging, but I think integrations are somehow easier if we do that in the headless commerce.
I see. All right. So move on to the next question. Is saying that do we need to install Yarn before using it in server?
Yes. As I said, that we need two things. We need Yarn and we need Node, because all the commands you will be running from Yarn only. So definitely you need the Yarn.
All right. So next, I think this is from management level, saying that for hiring perspective, how easy it is for a non-Magento developer to work on Magento PWA platform. So basically, he knows that Magento platform knowledge is required, but to what extent?
Okay, so let's say if you are a Magento developer, then it's easy for you to work on the GraphQL part. But let's say if you are a native Magento developer, then it becomes very tricky and very complicated to work on those React stuff. So what I think is that it's good to hire a React developer that can handle the front end stuff, and hire a Magento developer who can create the GraphQL APIs and handle all those things.
I see. All right. Next question is, as we need to maintain the versions of Magento and PWA, what are the main sources other than GraphQL that cause of incompetency between versions of Magento and PWA Studio?
Yeah, so it's like that. Assume that you're having Magento version 2.0 and you want to build PWA Studio using GraphQL. So that's not possible, because Magento introduced GraphQL inside 2.3 version, and also progressively Magento is releasing the GraphQL version. So if you go to the Magento repository and you see, every Magento is converting every module. Let's say if there was a module hyphen customer, so Magento is creating a new module hyphen customer hyphen GraphQL. So let's say if you are in an old version, you won't get that module, and that those GraphQLs won't work. So that's also a recommendation, that if you are planning to switch to PWA, and if you're having an existing Magento, better you upgrade it to the latest version.
All right, so move on to the next question. Is asking, what is your opinion if you are migrating to M2 as a front end connected with a legacy system ERP as back end? As in, what kind of challenges one can face when moving to headless, PWA, and how can we overcome those challenges?
Mhm. So as I said, the major challenge is the third-party extensions. So like, let's say if you are dependent on a specific third-party extensions and that is working perfectly for you, you need to either that particular extension need to support for you, that definitely they want. So you want to find a custom solution for that. So the main challenge is that you want to find the solutions of all those third-party integrations. And second thing is the cost. So like, let's say if you are considering that it's that much easy, like the current Magento is, you download it, you can get a theme, you pick that theme, get extensions, and it's up and running. It's not like this, because you will be need to work from scratch. Everything is completely separated, you need to work from scratch. So, and also the third party extensions are not available, themes are also not available. So that is the main thing. So investment, I can say that is, but we will get those advantages, as I told. Like, we will get the app as well. You don't need to invest heavily for the native app, building the native apps, iOS app, Android app, because you will have the PWA app as well. So that's the benefit actually.
Okay, okay. So as we are using multiple extensions in Magento website, so we need to develop the APIs for that too, if any related functionality required on front end. So as API not coming as the part of extension, am I right?
Yeah, APIs are coming. It depends on the extension provider. Usually, extension providers are providing APIs as well. It depends. Usually, they are not providing GraphQL, if I'm not wrong. Like, whatever the extensions are, they still are providing REST only. But that is somehow not recommended by Magento, because GraphQL comes with some of beauty. So for front end, we should use GraphQL only. So the thing is that either they provide the APIs or not. If they provide, then do they provide GraphQLs or not? And the only APIs we can consume, if let's say that extension was doing things on front end as well, that won't work. So you need to work on that part on the React end only.
Cool. So one final question.
Yeah.
So what if new Magento version launched, and also if new version of Magento's PWA Studio, what will be the process be like?
Okay. So what I understood is that the latest Magento's version, like let's say 2.4. So you can upgrade your extension, you can upgrade your project to latest version of Magento 2.4. And then, as I said, you can use using scaffolding, you can set up all those default PWA Studio as well, and then you can start customizing the Magento's Vinia theme as per your taste.
All right, I'm running out of tough questions for you. So, where can anyone connect with you? Do we have a LinkedIn?
Yeah, yes, I have a
So,
LinkedIn profile as well, and also maybe Twitter or Facebook. You can reach me.
all right, good. So, if there's anyone who want to connect with my big bro here, Mr. Narendra here, search look out for him on our LinkedIn. So, right, I will say we are coming to the end of our Magento 2020. So, thank you everyone for your time. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we hope to see you again next year. All right,
Yeah,
thank you,
sure.
Narendra. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Have a good 2020. See you in 2021. Bye, guys. Bye.